Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to WCS Challenger NA as we continue down the road to find out which two more of our members are going to be able to qualify for WCS Austin, as well as who is going to walk away with all the grand prizes here for our qualifier. My name is Kyle Harris. Alongside next to me is Todd, our final day here for our North America qualifier.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing the next two qualified players. Obviously, we're going to be playing all the matches as well because there's money on the line. There's WCS points on the line, which means seeding, which means more money. And I would love it if we could refrain actually from saying NA. I really hate that thing where people say EU and we say NA. No, it's Europe and North America.
Okay, I can do that as well. I can do that. Let's take a look at how things are going to be shaping up today, as well as what is to come. Of course, we are in a double elimination bracket here for WCS Challenger, and it will be best of fives all the way. We already saw a lot of those games yesterday. $10,000 is up for prize, along with 1,000 WCS points, and of course, overall, those top four will qualify for Austin WCS. The prize breakdown is as follows. First place will grab themselves $1,600. Then we go all the way down the line as 9th through 16th has already been determined, with $400 for them as well. So again, 10,000 across the board for all the 16 players. It's not a small chunk of change for an online player.
Esports earnings all the way, man. Just like you gotta refresh that page every day, remember what you're fighting for, and yeah. Money is money, right? That's what they say.
Money is money, that is for sure. So we will be starting things off. If we can actually take a look at the bracket as well and see exactly where we are in terms of what we saw yesterday and what is to come as well. You can see here that Puck was able to secure himself a spot at WCS Austin yesterday by defeating Scarlet 3-1 in that upper semi-final here for the upper bracket. Moving on further, we did have Neeb securing a spot as well at WCS Austin, knocking down True to the lower bracket. So we can take a look at that as well. As now it's True and Pili and Scarlet and Jon Snow. Those four players will be battling for the last two spots that we have remaining at WCS Austin. But we will be starting the day off with our first match, of course, which will be Puck going up against Neeb to find out who grabs themselves a grand final spot to challenge for that $1,600.
Yeah, really nice match to go into a PvP. We saw a lot of Terrans actually earlier on in the qualifiers, and now it's only Zergs and Protoss left. So I guess we get a good balance of seeing all the races in action throughout these 4 days here of Challenger. But really looking forward to Puck against Neeb. I want to see what they bring to the table in terms of mirror matchup. But keep in mind, True, Pili, Scarlet, and Jon Snow, they are fighting for these last two spots to qualify for WCS Austin over at Dreamhack. And I can't wait to find out which one. I'm trying to theorize a little bit in my head and stuff. It's like it's kind of hard, right, between True and Pili, like to pick one, and Scarlet and Jon Snow as well. Jon Snow has actually been on a tear. Like in the losers bracket, he beat Jig and Silky in ZVZ, so he's definitely doing pretty good.
Yeah, we saw some good stuff from Silky.
I say that, but Scarlet won't necessarily be Zerg.
Yeah, that's true. We did see some of Protoss yesterday. That was a bit of a wild series, to say the least, the second series that came out there from Scarlet with the Protoss. But overall, we saw the Zerg later on down the line, and we saw a lot of varied games across the board yesterday. Some good, some bad, you know, but overall, we did get those two players actually moving through in Puck and Neeb.
Yeah, and they get to be rejoined by two more today. I wonder, it would be cool to have some Zergs join them, right? But at the same time, Pili is definitely one guy that I've become a big fan of personally. Roti was one of the guys that started talking about Pili before he was actually putting up like really good results and stuff, because he was playing him on the North American ladder. And I think he's come a long way. Over in Katowice, he had a lot of really nice games and made it, I think, way further than most people would have thought he would. So maybe here again, he can have good showing.
No, absolutely. He made it into the group stages and then even had some extreme upsets, I would say, in that group stage, to the point where he actually, it felt like he should have won series that he ended up not doing because he kind of GG'd out a little bit earlier, maybe when he had a bit more chance going into some of those games. So that was a bit of a shame there.
You have a very vivid memory of this. You have a very good memory.
I do. That was... it was sad. It was actually sad to watch for Pili because he could have gone further, it feels like.
Neeb and Puck here are going to be our first matchup. They have a ton of history. In series, he's 13-6 in Neeb's favor, so definitely a good record for him to be heading into this match. But Again, we can't read into that too much. It's more about form. Form-wise, though, Neeb is, I think, doing pretty well in PvP in particular. Like I said, he lost a little bit of his super, but he did look really strong so far in this qualifier. And it's not like he's in a tournament like Kespa Cup right now with like top Koreans and all that, who he's beat before anyway. So I would say he's definitely the favorite here going up against Puck. But Puck, you can't sleep on this guy. He impressed a lot, I think, yesterday, in particular against Scarlet. So we'll see if he can, I guess, put up a good fight here up against Neeb.
Yeah, it will be a good PvP. What are some of the staples that we're looking out for PvP in the moment in terms of like how you're going to open up, where you're going to be transitioning to?
It's still kind of all over the place. Like some of the latest big changes in the meta is that like you wouldn't really see Tempest anymore past the Disruptor era. It would be more carriers. But even carriers, we don't see that often. It's kind of like almost exceptional. It's still all about Blink Stalkers and Disruptors against the Blink Stalkers and Disruptors, but players will try to make something happen before that.
Right.
Starting with their first few units. You're going to see Adepts sometimes all over the place. Some Protosses have crazy builds that go around having a ton of Adepts and trying to be very aggressive with it. If you're super solid, you shouldn't lose to it, but out of either of these guys, it would be a very dangerous style if they were to try and use something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And do you anticipate Scarlet going into her match as Protoss again? Do you think that she'll probably pull that out against Zerg?
There is a decent chance. I feel like maybe against the bigger Zerg names, she wouldn't dare. But against Jon Snow, she might just use Protoss. Maybe even against Tro. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure exactly like what's her mindset around picking Protoss against some of these Zergs. Maybe she wants to do it against any Zerg. But yesterday, she struggled a fair bit with it up against Puck, even though it was a 3-2.
Yep.
Like originally, remember, Puck was up 2-0.
Yeah, and kind of dropped the ball a little bit on those last two games, or the second to last two games. That's a terrible sentence. We're just waiting for the lobby to be made here between our two players, in Puck and Neeb, but I can't see either of them in this chat currently, so we may experience a delay here for the moment. I'm wondering why they're not around. So,
We'll find out in a moment.
Yeah, we're asking the admins to see exactly what's going on. Not getting a response, though.
Man, these cables drive me crazy. We need a clip. Are we going to get some singing from you today again?
No, not at all.
When are you going to drop your album? And what is it going to be called?
I have no clue. You've called
English
me off guard.
breakfast tea.
English breakfast tea.
I remember.
Oh my god. Yeah, that'd be all right. That'd be all right. Neeb and Puck do vetoes and tell me maps, please. I think neither of them are in this chat. So
I think we're waiting on Neeb. I'm finding out right now.
Neeb is here. Where is Puck? Great start. We do have a Neeb, but we don't have a Puck. It's a bit of a shame.
Can you imagine the pressure, by the way, on like the 4 players that we have in the lower brackets? They get one match to qualify or not. So it's going to be either between True and Pilly. Only one of them will qualify for WCS Austin, and Scarlet or Jon Snow. If you lose it, then not only you're out of the tournament, you earn less money, but you're not qualified for the big one, which, I mean, sure, we talk about the 10,000s, and it's really nice that there's this much money, especially for an online tournament, and that's very rare. But to qualify for WCS Austin is, I think, the big challenge here for everybody that enters this tournament. And now that they're so close, they can already reach for it, grasp it. And knowing that 2 of them will go out, it's kind of heartbreaking. Obviously, we can't qualify everybody, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be much of a qualifier. But
yeah,
it's going to be sick.
Is there an open bracket as well at Dreamhack? At WCS Austin?
I'm not aware of that.
First group stage, 64 players, and 16 groups, 4 players each.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect
tournament format. The qualified players go into the 3rd group stage.
Yeah, okay.
So technically speaking, there is still the potential, but you have to go through so many more games there. So you gain yourself a very strong seed going into that 3rd group stage, of course being part of the original 16 players that qualify. So that's good to see. if you're able to take one of these 4 spots, of course, for WCS Austin.
It's already in top 32, yeah. It's the 3rd group stage, I believe. Or is it more?
Yeah, 16 players from qualifiers, which is what we're playing now, and 16 players from the 2nd group stage. So yeah, 32
That's
players.
really good to be able to start with a lead like that. Like, sure, there's always the argument of that, like, you'll get less warm-up technically, even though you could be laddering, like other people will have played tournament games. But at the same time, you can kind of like walk around, study your opponents, you know, eat some popcorn, eat a hot dog. You're in America, you're in Texas, all right? Grab some short ribs from a stand outside, and then watch people play their game before you destroy them later in the tournament.
And one thing that's important to note is that even when you get into that round of 32, you already guarantee yourself $1,000 at that point in the tournament. So when you actually qualify through here, yes, you're getting yourself some money from
this is what I'm
WCS
talking about.
But another $1,000.
The rich gets richer.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how it works. The further you go into tournaments, and remember, it all starts here online with these players playing in pajamas from their couch at home. Okay, maybe not their couch, but
no, probably not.
They're very comfy chair.
Unless they've got one of those lazy keyboard things that you put like over you. Have you seen those?
You don't need that though. Like most chairs these days, they have like very high armrest that you can use anyway. Like it's very comfy. Do you have one of those?
I have a corner couch. That's all I have.
A corner couch?
Yeah, like a L-shaped couch in my corner. Big.
Yeah, but like you play from this?
No.
What do you play in? Like a good chair though, right?
An IKEA chair.
Okay, well.
It's the same IKEA chair.
There goes the hype about the chair that I was.
Hey, it's a nice chair. Oh, everyone uses it. It's great. I can't remember what its name is though. Everything from IKEA has a name, right?
Yeah.
Like Bjorn. All right. So Puck and Neeb doing maps? ? Yep. Still waiting. Oh well. We could do that. Yes, we could. We could, in fact.
Do what?
We could take a look at the Brood War teaser for Remastered that's soon to be coming. Do you want to do that, Todd?
Yes.
You want to do that?
Yes.
Let's
I
take
would
a
love
look.
to do that.
Let's take a look at Brood War Remastered. That's right, Brood War Remastered is on the way. I know Mr. Johan Merlo over here is diligently practicing almost 24/7 at the moment on the previous StarCraft, and he's going to... What are you on about?
I tuned into a couple stream though. Like a few guys have been streaming it to try and get back into it before Remastered comes out, and I was not impressed one bit, so I realized I don't need to practice perhaps.
I watched Artosis.
I'll still beat them.
I watched Artosis play.
Who do you think I was talking about now? I'm kidding.
Of course, the
I love you, Dan.
lineage of Brood War is going to be continued through Remastered, and of course, alongside StarCraft 2, which is awesome in itself. So definitely a lot of StarCraft to come, both in StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 moving forwards. It's amazing to think that even still in Korea, so big is StarCraft 1, doing so well.
They got a lot of viewers, and to be honest, like when you watch these guys play, Flash and all these guys, like the top Brood War players, I feel like I'm watching like Michelangelo and stuff, like in their prime, you know, painting something beautiful. It just looks so insane. Like I don't know. I've played this game, and like I feel like I wouldn't even get like close to a tenth of their skill.
Yeah.
Even though I
Very
consider myself like, or once upon a time, I consider myself like definitely like a fast player and all that. Like I'm no hardcore Brood War player myself. Like these guys, every time I see them play. So I think it's really cool to see them stream a lot as well. Because I always thought that first-person point of view is like the best.
Yeah,
Anytime you can watch it, it's like, I love it. Obviously, I like hearing commentary as well and tournaments, but first-person point of view really excites me also if I can watch that. And these guys with their art, guys.
Oh, gotta agree. Gotta agree. Looks like we have both of our players in the lobby, so I'm saying good to go GLHF as we want to get this going because we have a lot of series to come today and we have a lot of time that we need to fill.
One of Puck's weaknesses, I would say, is that he can get a little bit repetitive with his builds. Say, for example, if he likes to go Disruptor and like kind of rush it, or anyway he likes to go Disruptor. Let's just say he likes to go Disruptor. Doesn't matter the way he does it. A lot of the time he's going to do it in the exact same way every game. If Neeb picks up on that, Neeb's not going to lose to Puck anymore. The only way Neeb can lose is like if he gets surprised. In a straight-up game, mechanically, I really believe that there is no way Neeb can lose to most people, and Puck maybe in particular. I really feel like mechanically Neeb should be way above. But again, PvP can be unpredictable. There is some volatility with the scouting, with some of the attacks. Puck doesn't strike me as the kind of Protoss to be aggressive enough to do well against Neeb, though. So I guess we'll find out.
Yes, we will. Let's get into things as we have Proxima Station going to be our first map. Up to the top right-hand corner, it's our blue Protoss. It is Puck. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have our red Protoss. It's going to be Neeb. And I do recall, not so long ago, I guess it is last year, but those fantastic PvP series that Neeb had with Showtime and took them each other to the brink of destruction.
In Shanghai? Or?
Was it in Shanghai? It might have been in Shanghai.
The one epic game with like a couple Archons left against the Depths and stuff. Oh yeah, that was so insane.
It was so good. And that's the kind of Neeb I think about when I think about PvP, you know?
That's your favorite Neeb?
That's my favorite Neeb. Yep. He's a quiet guy, very reserved, but that's my favorite Neeb. Killing people on PvP.
And Puck already doing something special here. Nexus first in game number 1. Sadly for him, Neeb scouts him immediately. Now, this is a map where you can wall off, so if his build is really crisp and Neeb doesn't play it perfectly from there, there is a chance Puck gets away with it. There is also a chance Neeb doesn't choose to be super aggressive, but because he's already got double gas, usually there are a lot of things you can do that are going to be very hard for Puck to deal with.
Yeah.
Like you can proxy something, you can just play Stargate, and then you're going to have complete air control, start killing walkers of your opponent, and then take your own expansion.
Well, and already kind of Puck does have to be a little bit wary about that. That probe delayed that gateway for just a moment extra there, so that gate went down a little bit slower for Puck than normal. As the probe's just going to dart on back home now. And I think Puck at this point realizes that without sending a probe early on, there's no way he's going to be getting into that base of his opponent.
He's going to proxy something. I would guess the Stargates can be pretty good in this situation. He took some time to mine 3+3 from the gases, but now he's going to have enough when the Cybercore finishes. Against somebody who's going Nexus first, what is he really going to have to defend?
Know what I want?
Sorry?
I want a Robo instead.
A Robo can be very good, actually.
Aww.
No, a Robo, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because a Robo can be sick, especially against a wall-off. You break the pylons quite easily. Even if there is overcharge, you pull back, then you attack again as it expires. But his target is equally as strong, I would say. In this situation, you can just fly in there with oracles, start killing walkers. Like I was saying, one pylon is already in the wall.
Yep.
So how many pylons is there really going to be in the middle line to defend against this? Probably not that many.
Especially
and then you can go around.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since, because you know your opponent has gone 2 base so early, there can only be so many pylons across 2 mineral lines, right?
Yeah.
In this situation. So the Stalkers are already on the way. He knows he's going to need some, or potentially need some anti-air to actually deal with this. And even if it wasn't just anti-air, even if it was something like a Robo, any kind of ranged units are very important to actually try and quell the tide. So here comes the first Oracle being produced, Chrono boosted down.
Yeah. Puck getting Mothership Core at the same time. I think he has a good idea of what could be coming there, so getting these 2 Stalkers is actually pretty smart, but an Oracle can still do a ton of damage, even against 2 Stalkers in position. And if we keep an eye on the walker count, actually, Neeb is not trailing super far behind because of the way Puck opens. Very greedy, and the fact that he had no information, he can't spend Chrono Boost on his probes right now. Whereas Neeb could very well do that when his second Nexus finishes. Which means then he might be able to get ahead economically if he snipes, say, 3 to 4 probes. He doesn't even need to kill that many.
All right, so he doesn't know that this Oracle's coming in from the back.
Here we go.
He's positioned Stalkers there wisely to try and dart against that. for an overcharge into that mineral line.
Oh, that was so sick.
Very close.
I think he fully knew, like, Protosses, we do that ourselves, right? We dedicate... Oh, he's still going in on the natural.
Oh,
Puck wasn't paying attention, yeah.
Ooh.
Got a few more probes. Okay, Protosses, we always do that, right? Like, you dedicate Stalkers to one base and Mothership Core to another base. And in this case, Neeb knew that there was going to be Mothership Core in the main ready to defend. Overcharge about to be ready here for the main.
Well.
And Neeb's going to get out again. This is why you don't go Nexus first, because if you get scouted early by somebody as good as Neeb, he's going to kill 10 probes, find himself a couple walkers ahead, and then he's going to let the mechanics speak. And the mechanics, they've never been this loud, Carlisle.
No.
Except when sort of plays.
They are shouting, man. They've got that megaphone ready to go. So we'll have these oracles just still stationed outside the base, so these stalkers can't really do anything for now. We're seeing Puck just stuck in his base with these oracles still getting some more probes. Wow, good control by Neeb. Continue on. And he sees the fact that, you know, the Twilight Council is researching something. Probably going to be Blink considering how many stalkers are out right now.
Yeah, Puck, he struggled here to defend against these couple oracles. 14 probes have died in total. And Neeb so far with the perfect game. That's what happens when you go Nexus first.
No. Not too bad by Neeb at all. Going to break that pylon. Make sure that he can get out with his units here now. As these two oracles still just stationed on the edges. Observer wants to go in and have a look around. But
oh, look at this. 47 probes. It's time to get a third Nexus. I'm going to start calling Neeb Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he always gets everything just right on time. Like, honestly, like, the only way you can beat this guy, and I guess, like, it's StarCraft, right? You can still be unpredictable, is if you completely trick him.
Yeah.
In a straight-up game, where you're not doing anything special, you're just playing straight up, only the best Koreans, I feel, can beat him.
And
Like,
even sometimes that doesn't work.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, like, he's invincible or anything. He's just, like, so impressive, the style that he uses.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I saw someone commenting about innovation style and saying that he basically had developed a flow chart of how to play in a certain matchup with every single step along the way. I felt like Neeb has kind of done the same thing. Almost like we used to see Rain play, right?
Yeah.
Where he would play very defensively, follow every single step, take the third base on time, tech, get his upgrades going. Neeb's doing that in most matchups, and he's doing that superbly.
Alright, so third Nexus is going to go down here for Puck. He had to bring it out with the Warp Prism. Didn't even want to have to break down the pylon in the wall, and it's kind of an awkward position anyway, in terms of having to go all the way around compared to this wall where you can just kind of go nicely into the main base. But Stalkers are going to move out, get themselves a free pylon at least, and a Stargate. There isn't... Ooh. Ooh, that's a lot of Stalkers caught in that. He has to be very careful now.
And Neeb's going to be trying to punish that here, surrounding these Stalkers, covering the retreat so that he can snipe them. He's got a sentry as well for Guardian Shield close by.
That's huge. Those Stalkers have to focus down this sentry because he knows that someone's
going to fight
die.
it though. He's getting some Stalkers ready to blink to come to the aids to these original ones. He needs to target the sentry though.
There we go. The Guardian Shield's already been thrown up. You're right. Getting rid of that sentry is very, very important because it's negating a lot of damage right now. It's going at the front. He's still not focus firing it. It's just slowly being trickled down. And that's a blink forwards there. Big from Neeb to try and focus down more of these. No more Guardian Shield. But it seems like the numbers are waning here for Puck as Neeb continues to win out this battle. But here come reinforcements coming from the north from Puck.
Yeah, 14 Stalkers for Puck, 16 for Neeb. Not all of his Stalkers were nearby though, using the Oracles to fight. This is going to be huge, because if he can get a few snipes there, he's completely going to snowball with his blinks. But right now, Puck holding his own until the reinforcements get there.
Yeah, they can blink forwards aggressively if they want to as well. If you were going to blink forwards aggressively in terms of the weakened ones to try and get onto that Warp Prism, 2 more probes are in production here for Neeb. So behind all of this, he is still transitioning and still building his economy.
Take a quick glance at Puck's third base and then look at Neeb's. This is the biggest difference. That's why I keep on praising his mechanics, because he follows up every single time the way he needs to. Not only he had already saturated that with a couple of probes, he kept on making probes throughout this whole fight.
This could be terrible because there is another stasis ward on that right-hand side. Puck is barely not going to be able to trigger it just yet here, but there he goes, and that's going to be division and conquering as he goes, blinks forwards, brings down that Warp Prism. Perfect play coming out. Neeb takes game number 1.
Typical Puck, by the way, in his usual fashion, being aggressive. No matter how the game's going, Puck loves to be aggressive himself. Well, I guess there was this one series against Stefano at Dreamhack where he was just sitting back way too much. But other than that, he always tries to be fairly aggressive, and now it was his downfall. I don't hate the attempt because like it kind of felt like he had to make something happen. But like I said, Neeb is just so insanely good that if you sit back, a lot of the time you're gonna have even less a chance to do well against him. So in this case,
Yeah.
Puck went for the attack, and the Neeb just too solid to lose to this Stasis ward. Some sick use by him and good patience. He was also covering them. He wasn't just like putting them in all the map and leaving them there, hoping that something was gonna get trapped.
The first one was great, but the second one for me just like seals the deal. That was really cool to have that fight kind of forced there almost, and then half of it just be completely negated.
Let me guess, you went done and dusted in your head, didn't you?
Of course I did, yeah. But I love commentating fights like that because you can see it perfectly play out. 10, 15, 20 seconds before it even happens. So it's really impressive stuff to see there from Neeb in that game. Puck's got to reevaluate his strategies a little bit. It depends on the map, of course. It's a bit different, that map, compared to other ones.
I would assume they haven't played maybe for some time, and maybe he was hoping that there would be a later scout, because if Neeb scouts even just a little bit later, it becomes a different game. He cannot adjust his build as much to countering the Nexus first like he did now. The proxy's target, like I said, was always going to do some damage. It was a matter of how much. Like, sure, Puck would have defended a little bit better, but Neeb was always going to snipe a bunch of probes, get ahead economically with Chrono Boost, and from there, it's just very hard to recover. So a build that was supposed to put Puck ahead, put him behind, and then from there, it's very, very hard to recover. So
yeah, true.
Maybe play a little bit more standard at first. Don't go Nexus first.
Well, we are just waiting for the lobby to be created. It's taking a bit of time, so do apologies for the slight delay that we do have here. As if they'd have just told me the maps, I could have made it faster. But whatever. All right. Okay, so we have a lobby created.
Puck shouldn't let his loss get to his head, by the way. Like, it was just like, you know, almost like a build order thing. He tried something, like it's not the end of the world. Like, he's still a really good player himself. Just keep trying. Don't think, don't be negative, right? Some players, they take losing very, very badly. I'm one of them, and sometimes if you lose focus already, especially like it's a best of 5, you got plenty of time to try and come back. You don't want to tilt from game number 1.
So for all intents and purposes, he had lost about 10, 12 workers.
14.
No, 14, okay. And overall, still kind of put up a bit of a fight during that mid-game. There's certain sections of that mid-game.
But he committed a lot to it, right? That third Nexus, he didn't even use it. He didn't saturate it at all, while Neeb was still making walkers. So I think there is a way maybe Puck could have done better, like in the middle of the map, with slightly better micro and stuff. But again, it's one of those cases of like it's so much easier done here watching this.
Yep, that is true. All right, New Code Precinct is going to be our map. So very rare that you would see something like a Nexus first on this map compared, because you can't get that proper wall off.
I mean, like, Neeb scouted super fast.
Yeah.
It means he's probably going to do it again. So don't go Nexus first. Like, he will scout it and kill you again.
All right, well, let's get into it then, as we do have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. Currently 1 game up. It is Neeb in the red. And down to the bottom left, we do have Mr. Puck in the blue. So let's see what he's going to do. Already this
He's going to make a pylon.
Yeah. Already that probe in a position to make that happen. And pylon being made at the wall for Neeb to start things off.
You know, there is a new stick build in PvP, by the way, where you like hide the fleet beacon and go Chaos on 1 base. And there is this one timing you can go for where you kill the opponent. Have you seen that?
No, I have not seen that.
Of course you haven't. Happy April's fool!
What?
Didn't expect that one, did you?
It did seem a bit
You were like
ambitious.
trying to picture it, weren't you?
I was trying. I'm like, hiding a fleet beacon? Where are you hiding this fleet beacon? How are you getting all the resources for this?
From your double gas, man.
I was like, is this a Rotty build?
It should be if it's not. On April's fool it is.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. That was good. That was good.
Interesting wall, actually, by Puck. No wall off at the ramp, whereas Neeb is the one going for it.
Yeah, the wall from Puck is an odd one.
He'll see whatever flying units go into his base a little bit faster by having gateway on the right-hand side of his base. And also, like, I suppose, against Adepts, right? Like, it's kind of going to block them to enter from his mineral line on the right-hand side, which is quite cool.
In a similar way to how we used to see Protoss do this against Reaper play. Back in Heart of the Swarm, I think they were doing it at the start of Legacy of the Void, can't quite recall. But anyway, so yeah, it's interesting. Not too bad. Not too shabby.
Yeah, Neeb with the more standard approach. And usually on a map like this, you're almost always going to see the same thing when players open like this, is a first 4 units from these gateways. Mothership Core pretty quickly to try and fly inside of your opponent's main base so that you can recall out and see exactly what they're doing. And then a Nexus. Usually after 4 units and a Mothership Core, that's when you see the Nexus go down, and then the tech goes down after. Usually sometimes players want to get a little bit crazier than this and they throw down their tech beforehand, but that's also quite rare. And we see Neeb actually, in terms of being standard here, this is textbook how you should be playing this, what Neeb's doing right now. Double Adept into double Stalker, Mothership Core flying across the map to recall later, and then he's going to throw down the Nexus.
So already those 2 Adepts are going to be moving out here for Neeb in the middle. Likewise, Stalker's patrolling areas for Puck, making sure that Neeb's not doing anything too tricky. And because of that, this Stalker might take a little bit of damage here in mid, but nope, going to decide to just pull on back, the shade on forwards.
Neeb's just so solid. Look at this. He was leaving a probe at his wall, ready to make a pylon if Adepts were going to come in. Is he going to actually shade through here? He could get a few good snipes.
He may, and he's going to go for it. That phone overcharge, though, is limiting that, and those Adepts have done nothing so far.
Yeah, he knew that you can't overcharge in 2 places, so he left the Mothership on the right-hand side, Adepts on the left-hand side, forced the overcharge on one of the sides, and found some room on the other side to do some damage.
Not too bad. So, 2 workers killed off. Technically no units lost, but those Adepts are a bit more weak now when going into a straight-up fight. So, Robo Facility on the way for Neeb behind all of this, with the Twilight Council just starting up too.
Yeah, and I mean, this is again very, very standard. You need to get a Robo to make sure you get an Observer in case there are some sort of DTs. You can also start pumping out the Immortals pretty early, and the Twilight Council is up. I'm guessing gonna be for Blink. Again, the standard by far is just Blink play. But there are players going crazy here and there. Charge you will almost never see.
Yeah.
But Resonating Glaives and a ton of Adept is a style that, if you know how to play very aggressively and you're very good, and both of these guys can do that, you can use. But it's an, I would also almost qualify it of an all-in, right? Because it's a style that expires over time and becomes worse and worse as time passes by in the game.
We've seen Puck here just setting up a perimeter with those Stalkers to make sure nothing's going to sneak in. He knows that those Adepts with the shade could quite easily get in and try and get some scouting information, as Puck here throwing down his Twilight Council as well. So way a bit behind what we're seeing here from Neeb, as he did want to invest into more gateways before all of that. Just the one, actually.
Neeb, as always, super solid with everything. Somehow, you know, in a complete mirror in terms of like build orders for them. I guess he did get 2 probes, right? But other than that, not much has happened. He gets the upper hand in supply already. I remember, the supply never lies, or the soup never lies, as they say.
The soup. Well, the Immortals are being produced as well for Neeb, so...
Oh, that's very fortunate. At bottom, Hallucinated Phoenix spotted the Prism, headed for his main base here.
Nice. So technically the Stalkers can reposition. They don't have Blink yet, so it's going to be a bit harder to actually chase down that War Prism. But can at least try and deny some damage from occurring. Now, this is the one deviation that's going to try and change things up for Puck. He's throwing down the Forge much quicker here than we're seeing from Neeb.
I think Puck is pretty good in longer games, actually. I would like to see him maybe try on a map like this to play a longer game, because it's very hard to find a timing that you can go for and kill the opponent with. So he might even feel forced to tech to Disruptor, eventually take a 3rd base and kind of play it standard, but for now it's just going to be additional gateways being thrown down, which Neeb spotted immediately as they went down.
Oh yeah, because he was harassing. That makes a lot of sense.
That's huge, actually.
How impactful is it that he... actually, no, I mean, he has his own Forge about to finish up anyway, so it's not
Neeb saw these 2 gates, he's like, I'll raise you 2 gates. With 3 more gates! 3!
Come on, Puck. Scout it out. Throw down an extra 4. Even though he's on 2 base. Alright, Robo Bay about to finish up for Neeb. These Stalkers Just posturing at the front. Don't think that Puck can really do much with this at the front at all, because especially considering there's 2 Immortals in with this, it's just kind of a stalling out tactic.
Yeah, keep in mind Neeb's gateway count is going to equalize Puck's. He's not going to be 1 gateway ahead, because Puck was originally on 3 gates. So with the 2 extra ones, he's going to go up to 5. Oh, gets the... Oh, what? Both of the observers died at the same time. That's a double KO in StarCraft.
Yeah.
What's up now?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So, got to be careful though, apparently, about overstepping the mark in the mid, as Blink is going to help on out and just move back. So
okay, 19 Stalkers for Puck, 11, sorry, for Neeb right now. So Neeb could be in danger if he fights too early. Obviously, he's got the Immortals.
But it won't
Force fields can matter though in these situations.
Blinks forwards aggressively there, catches some of the Stalkers on the side with the force fields. Tries to blink out once again there, getting that Warp Prism out, tries to focus it down. Good attempt there, but does not grab it.
I'm surprised Puck's running, because he's investing everything he's got into a lot of Stalkers. Sure, he did go for a Robo-Bay, but there's no third base on the way. He didn't spot Neeb's third base starting just yet. And Neeb's gonna add 1 more gates, already being on 2 Disruptors against 0.
So the army composition of Neeb is kind of rounding out very nicely, while obviously Puck just a little bit behind in that regard. The 2 Adepts were attempting to put on some harassment. Did they have a shade going forward?
You know what I really want to see? Mass Carriers against Mass Carriers.
Is that what you want to see?
Yeah, because it's just so hard to beat Neeb in a normal game, so let's make it ugly. Let's make it like about randomness. Let's make it about tricks. Let's make it about armies that we never see. And just like pure carriers against pure carriers. What's up now? I probably would die before. I would have tried that for sure.
Okay, well, a Guardian Shield got thrown up and soaked up quite a bit of the damage before it could even happen. So that third base is now on the way. Likewise on the other side, on the way for Puck. Very, very similar positions that they're in, but with Neeb just having a bit more firepower behind it thanks to the Disruptors. But obviously this amount of Blinkstalkers, normally they're going to be able to get away from those Purification Overs, and that's going to whiff.
The Prism, about to fly back into the main of Puck here. There is a lot of pylons around this area, so can punish the Prism.
Still finding damage with these 2 Adepts is very impressive.
Yeah, oh, this is going to get shut down though.
Well, that's the caster curse.
He really is finding damage, isn't he?
Yeah.
3 probes, I guess he'll take that, right? Like these Adepts, they were going to be pretty useless in a fight anyway.
He's done a great job dodging all the Widow Mines.
Just below this.
What? Where?
Oh!
Oh.
Oh my god!
If it had have caught those 3 Disruptors just an inch forward.
Oh, that was so sick. I love this by Puck. Just being aggressive, trying to take the attention away of Neeb.
But now that 1 Stalker is going to be waiting for it.
Oh, he picked it up!
Oh, sick pickup.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Wait.
Why would he drop it back down for this?
Oh, we love you, Puck, but that was just
God.
That was comical timing perfection. No, 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 no. Oh, he went beyond where the Stalkers were going to blink. Oh, that was so good from Neeb.
Got a bunch there. Neeb with a good supply lead now.
Wait.
74 army supply to 65, and he's pressing forward, Kailaris. I'm getting worried for Puck here. It's 4 Disruptors to 1.
Yeah, it's looking very difficult. Oh, that poor Disruptor. So, cool players on either side, really, as Puck here still has a Disruptor in a Warp Prism. Maybe
Both players on 2 Robo, by the way.
And this army's still moving around. Oh, grabs the Warp Prism, and he didn't even get a chance to drop the Disruptor. And that's going to be a Stalker or 2 actually dying off there. And these Stalkers do not have Blink. They've already used it, so he's staggering the shots there. Going to be walling this off with the Force Fields, making sure he can try and get onto this third base. If it falls, then that will be donezo, as these Disruptors going very close to the brink of death.
Yeah, Neeb fully realized he was way ahead on the Disruptor count. It's so hard to defend in this position here as Puck, because you got all your Stalkers clumped up, and there is always the threat of these Immortals and these Disruptors, so you basically have to blink back all the time. You can't blink into your opponent. Neeb knew that. He set up, snipes the third base. He's got a 4th base behind this. He's golden right now.
It's perfect strategical know-how coming out. It's Purification Overs throwing forwards again. Puck knows he doesn't have to blink out of those ones, so he has it in reserve for when he needs to posture forwards again against the next 2 shots. But with Puck having 6 Disruptors here compared to the 3, it is difficult here for Puck. He also just needs his economy up and running. Nice snipe out there. though, from one of the disruptors.
Oof, that was close. Again, it feels like just one of these disruptor shots could change the game. That's one of them.
That is going to be potentially a second. No, doesn't grab those stalkers, doesn't go near enough. Blink away. Ooh, that was cutting it close, Neeb.
But Pug needs to go for it. He needs to go for a fight right now. Try and punish. He's going to try to catch the chunk of army on the right-hand side. One of these disruptors get blown up.
Oh, and a big blink forwards, focusing them down. GG. Neeb will take the lead in this series very firmly. 2-0. And when you look at the control like that, who can blame him? That was really masterful.
Yeah, it's funny because like I've been in this situation as well many times as Puck. It's just an impossible situation where you're standing in this area around your natural and you just can't defend. If the opponent has more disruptors, even just 1 or 2, and in this case it was 3, you just can't fight. He has immortals. What are you supposed to do? Blink in? You will lose everything. If you blink back slowly, then the opponent will still chip away at your army.
Yeah.
And Neeb's composition was just better. He even had a couple sentries for Guardian Shield every single time there was a fight. He was patient with the disruptor shots, like some Protosses. They will lose patience. They will use a ton of Purification Nova at once, and then the opponent blinks out.
Yeah.
And then he can just re-engage into you, right? Because you don't have any left. But not Neeb. He waited, sent them out one by one at a perfect timing that by the time he was using the last one from the first one, he would have reloaded and he would have a new one. So very clean play by him.
It's true, that is true. It looks like Neeb's going to be hosting our 3rd game here. So we can find out who is going to be moving on into that grand final that we'll see later on down the line as we jump on in to Abyssal Reef. And a good map. Oh, you watched? Did you find the best bit? Okay, so...
It was so weird because it was such a sick pickup too. I didn't even see like that the War Prism was in range for the pickup on the disruptor, and then like he dropped it and sent it. It was like you weren't meant to survive anyway. Just like go, be free, die.
Poor little fella. That was so good. Okay, so GLHF, let's go. Yeah, they're already starting. Brilliant. Cool. Want rapid fire, thick and fast games. Fast, fast, fast. No downtime.
Like your rap.
Yeah, of course. Because I am the most street of people.
You can beatbox a little bit, right?
Yes.
Let's go.
No.
Come on, a little bit.
Not
Why?
right
You're
now.
not bad at all.
When I get really tired later on down the line.
Oh, all right. A promise.
No, I never said I promise. Okay, let's... I've screwed up the score already. No, I've screwed it up still. There we go. Up to the top left-hand corner, it will be our red Protoss. It's going to be Neeb. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's going to be Puck in the blue. Why do you have to tell people that I'm not bad at it?
Because then you have to do it.
No.
Come on, you got out of the Lily cosplay. At least give us that one.
Oh, God, yeah, people forgot about that for the moment.
Yeah, until I remind them.
No, don't do that. I don't want to dress up as a female panda.
Might not be the worst thing you ever looked like.
No, I suppose
I
not.
saw these old photos where you were like in a rock band or whatever. With long hair.
That's why I can do okay beatboxing, because I was a drummer for so long and I would just like practice beats with my mouth. That sounds weird, but I would I would practice them in a beatboxing manner and then put them into practice when I came to the drum kit.
I thought it would sound very different.
Yeah, it does, obviously. But I would just think about like rhythms.
Oh, give me one beat.
No, not right now.
Why?
I'm not tired enough. Eventually I'll be tired and I'll be out of my mind.
All right, neither player going for a wall off here on Abyssal Reef, just the traditional double gateway. Interesting that for the most spots, I think only Neeb scouted kind of around this ramp for cannons. And Puck didn't do it at all. Cannons can be pretty dangerous in PvP, man.
Yeah.
You've seen me in the office get cannon rush quite a few times. And in PvP, on this kind of map, 2-players map, with where you got like a big cliff or ramp around your base, like if the opponent can set it up nicely, it's very, very hard to defend. So a bit surprised that Puck doesn't respect that at all, but I guess Neeb is not exactly the guy that will go for that build, for that kind of build all that often.
Yeah, very rare.
Maybe he'll save it for BlizzCon.
Maybe.
He's like, Puck doesn't scout for cannons? I'll see you on Abyssal Reef and I'll take my free win.
I think that overall, though, Puck is the kind of player that doesn't need to resort to too many early game shenanigans. He can kind of just he knows that he is so good to the point where the longer the game's going on, the more mistakes he's forcing from his opponent, right? And he'll be cleaner.
It's typical of Puck not to go for any scouts. He's one of those Protosses that will play more like that. Like, there are always many different types of Protosses, whereas Neeb, he likes to play like a more safe and, you know, skillful in a way where you cover all your bases, you make sure that you know at all times or as much as possible what the opponent's doing. In this case, like, he hasn't scouted yet, but the fact that he goes for double Adept and goes forward with it kind of makes up for that.
Yeah. Well, next is going to be started at exactly the same time for both players, as double Stalker Extra is going to be on the way. But skipping the extra little probe number, as we do have that Stargate going now super, super fast. Get it going.
Yeah, Puck has seen nothing so far. I mean, there could be a proxy near his base, but his build is meant to be quite solid against pretty much everything. He goes for double Sentry, which is really nice after the initial 4 Stalkers, because you can get double Hallucination eventually to work with and finally go for the Scout.
And it looks like for an overcharge, we'll push this away for the moment.
He should stay there, actually. Maybe force another overcharge so that later he can attack.
These 4 Stalkers are quite deadly at the front, as they're just going to start doing some chip damage toward this Nexus.
Okay, Warp Gate finishing now. There's going to be 2 Stalkers warped in for Neeb, who's going to look to defend that.
And can do it because he does have the Mothership Core available as well. No pylons to overcharge, but at least it's extra firepower from the skies. And even got a really good volley off there to start, so chasing that away.
And Stargates with an Oracle for Neeb is going to be the choice there against the Robo of Puck. The fact that he already forced an overcharge, by the way, is really good for Neeb. Like, especially if he could do one more, and then there's no overcharge against the Oracle. That guy kills Probe fast, and he could actually even get the Sentries potentially. Like, Sentries die super fast from an Oracle too.
Right, these Adepts going to get out of there as well, up to the top right, as Neeb Oracle on the way. How much is it going to do, Todd? What do we have for coverage? The Stalkers are already positioning themselves well. I would love to see them attempt to snipe out a Sentry, but it's too much damage probably.
4th Gateway from Puck. I was expecting, like, the 3rd one is normal, but I was expecting some sort of Twilight Council. The Adepts are only here to buy time for the Oracle to do his job here and kill some probes.
Yep. Ooh. And get 6 workers during all of that. So 27 to 35. It seems like Neeb is getting the better end of all of the harassment every single game.
I think Puck might go for an attack. He made a Prism. He's got 4 Sentries building up on energy. He might just warp in a ton of units and go for the attack.
Did see the Warp Prism though, right? The Oracle did fly past it, so...
Yeah, Neeb's getting a Void Ray, which is going to help. But and he's going to need overcharges. And the thing about this kind of attack is that you stand at the front of your opponent's base, you force overcharge, and you shade in Adepts toward the main base to try and spread him thin. Yeah. In which case, if Neeb walls off his ramp, he's going to be perfectly fine, I think, just defending on the natural. But a lot of Protosses don't have the reflex of doing that. Even Stats, actually. I was watching Stats stream. He lost to a Mass Adept build by someone on the ladder. Even though if he had just made 3 pylons on his ramp, there is no way he could have lost, because they kept on shading inside of his main.
Puck's trying to be very sneaky. He's actually lifted everything up this cliff instead of going through this brush to try and assault. So he's assuming that Neeb might have had a unit on that side and actually been able to see this direction, but
he's going to force field the ramp.
Oh.
Yeah, there is pylons in position. He can't. He has to attack into the natural, I think. Remember, there is no blink, by the way. He was going to force field the ramp, pick up the units, and drop them up.
This seems really ambitious. I mean, the probes did come off the line for a moment there. There was a Puck Adept at the back of that mineral line, but...
Neeb has no blink yet, so he can't blink back any of these Stalkers. He's in a good enough position, though, that he's trading right now against these Stalkers of Puck.
Even the Void Ray was doing a little bit of damage there.
Don't drop them back down.
He just walked back into the fight. He's like, we didn't want
the Oracle across the map is super dangerous, by the way, for Neeb, because there is not much Stalkers in position.
It's already going to get a few probes here and there. Anything he can get is great. Realizes that the assault is being subdued here at the natural base so far, thanks to the fact that he has a good concave behind this.
Oh, 2 Adepts sneaked in the main. I was like, wow, the probes evacuating ship. And actually, Neeb, with the amount of gateways he's getting, if he just purely masses Stalkers from there, he should be fine, I think, in this game. I would even go as far as saying I think Neeb is in a fantastic position there.
Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, God.
That would be, he's doing well. I mean, once you've got Blink... Once you've got Blink against no Blink, it's very difficult for Puck to stick around. So Stalkers are going to move out knowing that they have Blink complete. And obviously Puck had to retreat earlier so he didn't get chased down and killed.
7 gates against 4.
That's a lot of gates. That's a lot of gates. 21 stalkers.
Reminds me of that one story of Naniwa doing some coaching.
What?
And some guy losing with 3 gates against 4 gates and asking him, why did I lose? And then he was saying, there is nothing, I can't explain you. I can't help you.
All right, well, going to continue blinking on back here as he does have the high ground vision thanks to the stalker on the right-hand side. If he was able to focus those, then he wouldn't have any high ground vision there for the moment. But that being said, Puck here still just trying to push this away. Will lose the mothership core. Blinks back there with the stalkers, and realistically speaking, the army supply is just dwarfing that of Puck's right now. And he has going to have no photon overcharges, but he will have an immortal.
Yeah, I think Puck's fine defensively, even though he doesn't have blink. As long as he sets up here defensively properly with his units. He's going for a 3rd base now, though.
Why won't he work on the rocks? Oh! Blinks forwards, aggressively gets the Warp Prism, looking to focus down the Immortal as well. And as it looks,
there's no overcharge. Okay, now there is one.
He has the Stalker advantage, though. He has the numbers advantage. He actually blinks on aggressively onto it. Now the numbers are very, very even, as I think they're just going to kind of kill each other completely. No, okay, so Neeb has enough.
I mean,
Backs
he's
off,
got
though.
a couple stalkers left over, but those don't have shields.
Yeah.
It's smart to do that, though, because he's not going for... He's got more gateways, right? So he can reinforce faster. Even if he gets a slight stalker lead, which right now he's got, Neeb might be able to snowball. And he got the big fight before they were going to be disruptors. That's the important key point here. Now, if you look at the way he's reinforcing, it's 18 stalkers against 6 Scalaris.
Yeah, and surely he could just blink onto them and kill the disruptor and then win. There's no really...
Sounds like a plan.
There's no really good way. That as much as disruptors are a great unit, they're not that good. So now these stalkers here, just going to start working away at the 3rd base, but...
He's only showing a couple of stalkers. This is so smart.
Yeah.
Look at the vision of Puck. He sees these stalkers. He's like, I'm going to go there and defend.
Uh-oh. One's going to die. Oh, no. At least he's got 2 disruptors to
Neeb's
cover
going
each
for
other.
the kill. Oh, Neeb's so smart. He's not
he
even wasting time
realizes.
on 3rd base. He's like, you know what? You just used 2 Purification Nova. Let me just kill you and 3-0 you.
Yeah, very well done, GG. And that is Neeb moving on into the grand final here for WCS Challenger as he finds himself that 3-0. Absolutely brushes his shoulder and says, get out of my way.
Yeah, in typical Neeb fashion, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Yeah.
Smooth sailing so far from Neeb in this tournament. 3-0 Sotorks, 3-0 Puck Bunny. They struggled a little bit more against Rui, was a 3-2, but then 3-0 against Puck now.
Yeah, very impressive stuff there from Neeb. So that means, of course, Puck isn't eliminated. He can come back through now the lower bracket and find himself in that grand final again for a potential rematch. Although if we do get to that situation, he's going to have to reevaluate what he's going to bring to the table against Neeb, because Neeb looked strong.
Yeah, he might have to play completely differently. Sometimes, in one series doesn't necessarily mean too much. You're just not feeling it.
Yep.
And a lot of conditioning actually goes into playing like this kind of tournament. I mentioned that you're playing at home in your pajamas, but still, like, you need to make sure you eat early enough before. You brainstorm your builds in the shower and all that. And sometimes you're not feeling it as much as on other days. So we'll see in Puck's next match if he can do better. Mm-hmm. But looking forward to the next 2, which are going to be qualifying matches.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, we're going to have more WCS Challenger action as we find out the next 2 players who are going to qualify for WCS Austin.